Hello, welcome to Tricia's Cards and Crafts, and this is another in my edition of series of Simple to Stepped Up on Sundays. These are the two cards for today. This is the card I'm going to show you how I made, or how to make it, and I've decorated the envelope and the inside, and then I'll explain how I made this one afterwards. Okay, I haven't put an insert on that one yet. There we go. Right, so I'm not going to do the oval this time. I'm just going to do the moon. I don't think the oval necessarily worked very well, so I'm going to try and make it more like this one, but I'll show you. We'll go through this now anyway. Okay, so we're working landscape rather than portrait, and I'm going to use a post-it note or two just to make sure I don't go over onto the back of the card. And the post-it notes just fit nicely on these cards. So first of all, I cut out a circle with a punch that I've got, and I'm going to place that down there, and I'm going to actually put this on first, this stamp. I didn't do it first last time, but I think it'll work better if I do it this way, then I know where everything's going to be. You learn by your mistakes, so doesn't matter if you make them. Right, I'm going to just put another piece of paper down underneath. Don't need to get it any dirtier than I already have. So I'm going to put this down here. There we go. Now I want just below the tree line to be not as dark as above the tree line, so now I know where that is. I can work out how I want to do this. So here we go. I'm going to use a piece of post-it note paper that I ripped, that's sort of got a similar sort of line to the one that's on here, just so that I can see where I want to colour below, and I don't necessarily go over onto the tree line itself. I don't want it to be as dark as above the tree line. I'm just going to move this along as I work. It still needs to be dark, but not necessarily as dark as the top. I keep moving this along, and then when I get like that, just keeping this light. There you go. You can see it a little bit better. You don't want to make it too dark at the moment. Just try and keep it a bit lighter. We will go in a bit darker above the trees. So and it doesn't matter if it goes a little bit dark in places, because I'll be colouring in the trees as well, so that's fine. I'll be putting the shadows of the trees in afterwards. There we go. So that's underneath the tree line done. Just sort of try and smooth this out. It doesn't matter too much. I think I must have got, yes I have. And then I'm going to put a sort of mountain range, if you can call it that, above this. so that we've got the line behind. And I'm just going to use I've got the Misty Moonlight. I'm using Misty Moonlight ink pad, but I'm just going to do this. Now I'm just trying to copy the way the lines have sort of been drawn, sort of linked line somehow, just so that it continues with the same sort of feel as below. And then I'm going to carry on with the bigger brush because it'll cover more space more quickly. And now we're going to go in and we can make this as light or dark as we like. I want it to be dark or darker. Over this side, on the edges, around the outside edges, but not necessarily in the middle where the moon actually is. Oops, a daisy. I didn't know that was going to happen. There we go. So above the moon darker and below the moon a bit lighter. There we go. Now I'm going to take the moon off, and it's going to look really bright now, and I don't want it to look that bright, so I'm going to use the smaller brush again, and I'm just going to sort of go across to make it look as if it's a bit sort of misty. I'm going to go all the way across to the sides. There we go. So, and there we are. So that's, I think, most of the inking done now. I'm going, oh no, I need the, no it's not. I've got to put the sentiments on. So this one says, may your, no, that's the one for the inside. Thinking of you at Christmas. And I'm going to put this one down here. And then on the inside I'm putting the other one, which is may your days be merry and bright. Oops, there we go. Now I also used the little, maybe that's the one that fell. No, it isn't. Got another one here somewhere with just little stars on. Oh, there it is. That fell on top of it. There we go. So put one there. I'm going to just turn that one round. There. So that's nice with the stars. Now what I did on the other card, I don't think I need this now. I used some of the Whisper White. I've got a small ink spot with some Whisper White ink on it, but I don't want to use that for this card because I did this one differently. So I coloured underneath that, and I did it quite dark, so I wanted it to sort of look as though there were shadows with there, so I put some white underneath first. I used a bit of a tissue and I blotted it into the ink pad and then pulled it along to or put it on. You can use I didn't want to use a brush because I didn't want to get my brush, I didn't want the white to get contaminated, and I could have used an I've got one of these sponge daubers with I used for white, but I didn't want the blue. I could have tried to wait until the ink was dried. Here it is, but this is a white. You obviously can't see the white because it's on there, but I just thought I didn't really need to have the white there, so I'm not going to do that. What I'm doing next is I'm just going to colour in the trees. So just where just filling them in basically. So again, you want them to be more like silhouettes, so I'm using the Misty Moonlight marker pen for this, and I could have used Night of Navy, I suppose that would have worked as well. I could have used Night of Navy for colouring in, doing the sponging as well, but it's up to you what you use. I've used these brushes. These are makeup brushes that I've bought from Amazon, but Stampin' Up! Will be starting to sell the brushes themselves in the new spring summer catalogue, which will be coming out at the beginning of January, but at the moment they don't sell the brushes, so I used the ones that I've already got in my stash. You can find them quite cheaply on Amazon, and they work just as easily as any sort of craft brushes you can buy, but they're usually a bit cheaper too. I've got a set. These are a set of 5 brushes, and they're different colours, so I thought that would be good because then I'll know which colours I've used on them. These you can't tell as easily because they've got sort of brown bristles, so you can't really tell very easily what the colours the ink you might have used them before, and if you're not careful you can contaminate them, so just be careful if you do use them. You can wash them, the ink will come out of them, so you can do that. I've actually cleaned mine before now on a wet wipe, so it does come out, but then you've got to be careful because then they'll stay damp for a while, so you've got to make sure you dry them off before you can use them again. So just maybe think about that if you're thinking about buying any brushes. There we go. So that's those. Now I'm going to do the shadows, and I was trying to think of where the light from the moon would be coming. So the ones that are below it, they would be straight down and they won't be as tall, but as you go further away they will angle at a different angle. So these will come down like this, and don't worry if it's a bit dark at the moment, they will, that's not a problem. And you don't have to be precise. They're shadows after all, and it won't matter too much if you get them a little bit different. we go. Now to make it make them sort of smooth them down a little bit so that they're not quite as dark as that. You could go over again with the Whisper White and maybe the sponge dauber, or you can use a piece of tissue or whatever, but we'll see how this works first. This is a Wink of Stella brush pen, and it sort of gives a, I don't know whether you can, it's going to pick it up on the camera, but it gives a nice spark shimmer to it. It's not sparkly as such, but it's a shimmer. So I'm going to go across the moon. I'm going to put some shimmer across the moon, and I want the moon to be a bit shimmery and to make it look as if it's clouds across the moon. They can be a bit more ethereal perhaps by using the shimmer on that. And then I wanted this to look more like it was a bit more smoothed out as well. And because this is like a water-based ink, when it's wet with the Wink of Stella, it will, here we go, sort of blend it out slightly so it won't be quite as dark an outline. And I'm going to do around the words as well, but not the words themselves, because I don't want them to go sort of to smudge. There we go, and I might just do there as well, just to make it look so that it is a bit different. I could do the trees as well. There we go. So that's how I did that card. So now I think that should be, let me just make sure that's all right. Take that off there. So if I take this off now, there's my card. So yeah, it's up to you. I quite like it dark, but you could put, all I did was cut an oval out of post-it note paper, and I stuck that on, and then I inked around it, and then I went back over it slightly so that it wasn't too much difference. And I did the stamp after I'd done the oval, so I put the stamp on over the top. So that's the two differences between those two cards. So I've got that and that. To do the edge of the envelope, like I did with this one here, I put this underneath the paper so that it's only this that's showing. Let's do that with my fingers, and I should have done this first. It doesn't matter, we can do it now. And I just inked up, I just put these out of the way before I get ink on everything. So I'll just do the trees again, and this time I'm going to do them upside down. Just in case. There we go. Hold that down. Make sure that that's going to be on. There we go. Oops. There we are. So there's the tree line there. Okay. So now that's on the edge of my envelope, but it doesn't actually go onto the actual envelope part underneath. Okay, so that's the two cards and envelopes, that the note cards, the simple stamping ones. And sorry, I didn't say, the stamp set that I've used is called Curvy Christmas. I'll just show you a photo of it. This is the one. So they got some nice sentiments. There's a nice bow. I've seen a nice card made with that. On this one, I've used the stars to go above this, but I didn't want to use the craft the white Whisper White craft ink isn't great. It doesn't come out really white on dark colours, or at least I haven't found. It might be if I inked it up a bit more, it might be better, but I did use a different white ink, but it would have also worked if I'd used Versamark and then used a white embossing powder. That would have helped it, and that would have made it stand out a bit more as well. So, but what I did with this one, to explain how I made this one, I used the Misty Moonlight card as the base of this part here, this square panel. I stamped in white. I actually coloured the shape in. I made a mask and I coloured inside the mask this time to do the moon with white, and then I also then put some more white around it to make it sort of like the halo effect around it. I also put white on the card at the bottom underneath the tree line there. I didn't put a hill in, but I mean I could have done just as easily, but I think I had enough that was going on. I then used the Wink of Stella over the top, but I only put it on underneath the trees. I also did I think I might have used a different, no, could have been. I could have used, what I could have used for this one, for the shadows, I could have used the Seaside Spray pen instead of the Misty Moonlight. It wouldn't have been as dark, but I think it looks okay as it is. What else did I do? I've mounted this panel onto, I went around the outside edge with some Misty Moonlight, the marker, just to make sure that the edge sort of stood out a bit more, and I also put a piece of silver foil card or paper behind to mount it on, and then I used a piece of Designer Series paper, which is the Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper, and there's lots of nice snowflake images. They've got different things on the fronts and the backs of the picture of the colours. There's lots of different, the colours that they've used are Balmy Blue, Coastal Cabana, Highland Heather, Misty Moonlight, Night of Navy, Pacific Point, Pool Party and Whisper White. So all the different blues are in these, plus purple, plus the Highland Heather. But yeah, there's some really pretty papers in here. Whoops. So you've got more sort of solid backgrounds on some, and some of them got the white. So you've got snowflakes on just about all of them. This one doesn't. It's more sort of a splodgy colour with the darks. It looks very sort of night sky like. That's the one that I used on the other side. But then you've got a lovely soft sky, which would be nice as well for a daylight sort of card, that if you want to do that. And there's some lovely big snowflakes. This comes with a suite of, so there's designer papers, there's stamps, and there are also dies as well that will cut out, and so they will cut out some of the snowflakes that are on the sheets. So I don't know which ones, because I haven't got either set. I haven't got the stamp set or the dies, but I like the paper, so I bought the paper. I thought it would look nice behind that, so that's what I used behind there. And I did go around the outside. I think I used the Night of Navy pen just to go around the outside, or I might have stuck it in, sort of just put the edge of it on top of the ink pad, just so that it helps it to stand out again. Okay, I haven't done the inside, but I could just as easily put the same sentiment that I did on the other ones inside. I will finish this one off, and I haven't done the envelope like I did with the others, but those are the cards that I've made, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I've made them. Maybe you will have a go at making something similar if you've got stamps, or if you are thinking of getting them. If you want to get the any of the materials that I've used, you can find them on my in my online shop, which is on my website. It's Tricia's Cards and Craft .stampinup.net. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of the videos, you can subscribe to my channel, and if you click on the little bell icon, you'll be notified when I post another video. If you've got any questions or comments, you can leave them below, or you can email me at triciascardsandcrafts@yahoo.com. I keep wanting to say co.uk, but it's not, it's .com. Again, hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll join me again shortly. Thanks for joining me today. Bye. Happy Christmas.